Many people starve for weeks, yet watch the scale refuse moving still. Calories drop, effort rises, but body weight stays exactly the same, unchanged. This creates confusion, frustration, and belief that personal discipline is failing completely. You were told weight loss follows a simple mathematical equation taught repeatedly. Eat less food, burn more calories, and fat should disappear eventually, naturally. For millions, that equation fails repeatedly inside real human biology daily systems. Calories cut, energy crashes, muscles shrink, hunger grows relentlessly over time periods. Yet stubborn belly fat refuses leaving the body despite sustained discipline. This pattern signals something deeper than calories and exercise alone governing metabolism. You do not have a simple calorie intake problem inside your body. Instead, you face a storage malfunction driven by hormonal signals controlling energy. The missing variable is a hormone named insulin governing fuel storage access. Insulin functions as the master switch of metabolic decision-making inside cells. It determines whether energy gets burned immediately or stored inside fat tissue. When insulin remains high, fat cells become biologically locked against fuel release. Running farther or eating less cannot unlock those fat stores efficiently alone. Fat remains trapped, especially visceral fat surrounding vital organs deep inside abdomen. Burning fat requires flipping the metabolic switch decisively away from storage mode. The body must receive a clear signal to release energy from storage. That signal is not simply eating fewer calories daily or exercising harder. Real change comes from lowering baseline insulin levels consistently across the day. Today, we decode the biomechanics behind a true insulin reset process fully. This goes beyond vague advice like cutting carbohydrates without understanding physiology deeply. We examine physiological levers that directly control fuel access inside the body. These levers empty glycogen, calm insulin signaling, unlock fat stores efficiently fast. This approach is not dieting or restriction, but targeted metabolic system engineering. Most health advice focuses on weight as the main problem instead symptom. We focus on the signal instructing the body to store energy chronically. To fix insulin, we must understand fuel hierarchy first inside human metabolism. The body operates using two primary fuel tanks for survival energy balance. The first tank is small, fast, and easily accessible during daily activity. This tank stores sugar as glycogen inside liver muscles for short term. The second tank is massive, slower, and harder to unlock biologically safely. This second tank consists entirely of stored body fat accumulated over years. Biology follows strict rules about which fuel gets used under different conditions. As long as glycogen exists, fat oxidation remains suppressed by insulin signaling. Insulin stays elevated to protect easily accessible fuel from premature depletion signals. The body avoids burning fat whenever sugar is available in circulation freely. Modern lifestyles constantly refill the first fuel tank through frequent meals daily. Eating spans morning through night without meaningful fasting periods for metabolic reset. The liver rarely empties its glycogen reserves completely under normal eating patterns. Insulin therefore never falls low enough to switch fuels toward fat burning. Fat burning remains inaccessible despite strong effort, discipline, willpower, exercise, consistency alone. The fastest insulin reduction is mechanical, not motivational, driven by physiology alone. It requires physically emptying liver glycogen stores through timing movement and fasting. This leads us directly into phase 1 of the insulin reset protocol. Phase 1 focuses on draining liver sugar efficiently without spiking insulin levels. This phase begins before eating anything at all each morning consistently daily. We are not talking about extreme endurance exercise or marathon training sessions. We are targeting liver glycogen with strategic fasted movement patterns each morning. Phase 1 starts with mechanical action rather than calorie restriction or motivation alone. This phase targets rapid emptying of liver glycogen stores specifically each morning. We are not discussing extreme workouts or exhausting endurance training sessions here. The focus is draining liver sugar, not depleting muscle glycogen reserves today. Understanding this requires knowing an important distinction in human biology clearly first. Muscle glycogen behaves selfishly, remaining local to the working muscle fibers only. Sugar stored inside muscles cannot supply the rest of the body directly. It fuels only that muscle during contraction and physical activity periods locally. Liver glycogen functions differently, serving the entire organism continuously throughout the day. The liver maintains blood glucose stability for brain and tissues constantly overnight. During sleep, the liver releases sugar to keep systems alive, safely functioning. By morning, liver glycogen is partially depleted, but not empty, yet still. This creates a unique metabolic window immediately after waking each day naturally. Insulin levels are naturally lowest during early morning hours for most people. Fat burning potential is highest during this brief morning window before eating. Eating breakfast immediately refills liver glycogen and raises insulin rapidly again today. Carbohydrate-heavy breakfasts spike insulin and shut fat burning quickly again completely. This instantly reverses the metabolic advantage created overnight by sleep fasting physiology. Delaying food intake changes the entire metabolic direction toward fat usage mode. Movement without food forces the body to burn remaining liver sugar stores. Fasted movement becomes a powerful lever for insulin control within metabolism quickly. Walking, light resistance training, or gentle cardio work effectively here daily consistently. Exercise intensity is unnecessary and counterproductive during this phase of reset process. Muscle contraction itself activates glucose transport without insulin involvement directly today biologically. This transport pathway is known as the GLUT4 mechanism inside muscle cells. Normally, insulin is required to open glucose entry doors on muscle cells. During contraction, GLUT4 moves to cell surfaces independently of insulin signaling levels. Glucose is pulled from blood directly into active muscles rapidly without insulin. Blood glucose drops without triggering a compensatory insulin spike response initially here. The liver senses falling glucose levels almost immediately and responds accordingly quickly. To stabilize blood sugar, the liver releases stored glycogen into circulation promptly. You are draining liver glycogen without raising insulin levels during movement sessions. This creates a metabolic vacuum effect inside the bloodstream during fasted movement. Sugar exits storage faster than it can be replaced by food intake. The liver glycogen buffer collapses surprisingly fast under these fasted movement conditions. Once liver glycogen empties, insulin loses its storage justification biologically within hours. Baseline insulin falls toward its functional minimum, allowing fuel switching processes. The body must then switch fuels to survive efficiently using fat stores. Fatty acids begin flowing out of adipose tissue to supply energy demands. You have mechanically forced entry into fat-burning mode without calorie restriction. This transition occurs faster than traditional calorie restriction methods alone typically allow. Muscle is preserved because insulin sensitivity improves simultaneously during fasted movement protocols. The protocol itself is intentionally simple and repeatable for daily adherence long-term. Upon waking, hydrate with water and essential electrolytes before any food intake. Then move your body for 20 to 30 minutes while still fasted. Walking outdoors works exceptionally well for this purpose daily, when possible consistently. Light resistance training can also support glycogen depletion without excessive stress hormones. The objective is movement, not exhaustion or hormonal stress that impairs insulin. Excessive intensity elevates cortisol, counteracting insulin-lowering efforts during this phase specifically. Phase 1 concludes when liver glycogen is fully depleted, allowing fat oxidation. Phase 2 begins once eating resumes and insulin control becomes the priority. The goal shifts from depletion toward preventing excessive insulin spikes after meals. We want nourishment without overwhelming the metabolic system with storage signals. A simple kitchen tool helps accomplish this effectively before eating begins. That tool is vinegar containing the active compound acetic acid. Clinical studies show vinegar improves insulin sensitivity significantly before carbohydrate meals. Acetic acid works through two primary biological mechanisms inside digestion. First, it inhibits enzymes that break starch into sugar rapidly. This slows carbohydrate digestion and reduces glucose flooding into the bloodstream. Sugar enters circulation gradually rather than all at once after meals. Second, acetic acid improves glucose uptake into skeletal muscle tissue. Energy gets directed toward muscle usage instead of fat storage pathways. This shifts fuel partitioning toward oxidation rather than accumulation. The protocol involves consuming vinegar shortly before your largest meal. 1 tablespoon diluted in water works effectively for most people consistently. Phase 3 introduces a physical barrier protecting against insulin spikes. This barrier is viscous, soluble fiber consumed before carbohydrates. Examples include psyllium husk, chia seeds, flax seeds, or glucomannan fiber. When mixed with water, these fibers form a thick gel. This gel slows sugar absorption by coating the intestinal lining physically. Carbohydrates become trapped within the gel matrix, delaying glucose entry. Blood sugar rises slowly, preventing sharp insulin responses after meals. Fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, further improving metabolic signaling. Fermentation produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate and propionate. These compounds stimulate satiety hormones, reducing hunger and insulin output. Phase 4 addresses the most common insulin mistake, grazing frequently throughout the day. Every eating event triggers insulin, even with healthy snacks. Frequent snacking keeps insulin elevated, preventing fat release continuously. To lower baseline insulin, eating frequency must be reduced intentionally. This is where time-restricted eating becomes powerful. Insulin and glucagon operate on a metabolic seesaw system. When insulin rises, glucagon must fall, limiting fat mobilization. Longer gaps between meals allow glucagon to rise properly. This unlocks stored fat and supports metabolic cleaning processes. Snacking interrupts this balance repeatedly throughout the day. Eating 2 or 3 meals allows insulin to fall between feedings. This activates fat-burning enzymes while turning off fat storage pathways. Unlike calorie restriction, this approach preserves metabolic rate and energy. Lower insulin removes the biological handbrake, blocking weight loss. Fat loss becomes a natural consequence, not a constant struggle. Your body wants efficiency, not constant storage under insulin dominance. These phases work together as a complete insulin reset system. Fasted movement drains glycogen and opens the fat-burning door. Vinegar and fiber blunt spikes, keeping insulin controlled after meals. Meal spacing allows hormonal balance to restore metabolic flexibility. This is not punishment or deprivation, but biological alignment. You are working with physiology rather than fighting it daily. Lower insulin shifts the system toward health, efficiency, and fat loss. Apply these principles consistently, and visceral fat loses its advantage. The body finally receives permission to release stored energy safely.